Listen up, all fight fans and fitness junkies. You've been listening to me talk about Jocko Fuel for a while now, and if you've been waiting, the wait is over. This August, you can score a massive 30% off on all of Jocko Fuel's top-tier supplements. That's right, 30% off. Jocko Fuel is loaded with all of the good stuff and none of the bad. We're talking no added sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and absolutely no gray area or banned substances. Just pure, clean fuel to power your performances. And guys, I really want you to try some of my favorites like Jocko Go and Jocko Hydrate. This deal is only going to be available for the month of August. So use code CHAEL30 or go to JockoFuel.com. Don't wait. Fuel up with Jocko Fuel and crush your goals. Guys, click on the link below to make it happen. Merab is speaking out against Umar Nurmagomedov. How are we supposed to interpret that? That is very, very interesting to me. First off, they have somewhat similar paths. Like, Umar is said by Merab. Okay, now this is the second interview in as many weeks. And Merab is going to be red hot this week with interviews and media. This is likely to be a theme that keeps coming up. It is so extremely unlike Merab to resist a fight. I can't call this turned down, but for lack of having a better word, it's the closest we've ever seen to Merab turning it down. He's actively trying to get attention off of it. And there is no part of me that is contending that Merab Dvalishvili is scared by any means. He's already been in there with Cejudo. He's already been in there with Jon, right? He trained every day with Aljo. I mean, these are 3 world champions that he's got experience with right off the top of my head, and he's about to go in there with a 4th, O'Malley. There's no part of me that is suggesting he's scared, but Merab did make an interesting comment about Umar and said Umar has been fast-tracked by the UFC. And what a fascinating statement. And he was fast-tracked because he's a Nurmagomedov. So, like, that sounds right to me. That would not be a surprise or something that is out of bounds. Like to have Khabib and have that demographic and that part of the world. Oh, by the way, you got another one with the same name who's now coached and cornered by Khabib himself, who, by the way, is a similar record, which is completely undefeated. Like, that would make sense to me. And I had those very same thoughts as Merab is stating. I had those thoughts that we would do something like that and we would do it in short order. And I had it the night that Khabib walked away 29-0 after his win against Poirier. Now, I didn't have it in the form of Usmar or even Usman Nurmagomedov. I had it in the form of Khamzat Chimaev. I thought he would be the one to grab that demographic, grab the belt, off we go. He's never even given an opportunity for a belt. And when Merab made the comment about Umar, I went and looked him up. Guys, how long do you think Umar, because he looks young, right? Like he's very cute. He looks like a young man. And he's brand new to the scene. And Merab just said he got faster, so he's got to be pretty new. How long do you think he's been in the UFC? 4 years. I know high school felt like it went by fast, but can we agree 4 years is a meaningful amount of time? I don't know if you can get fast-tracked after being there for 4 years. He's 18-0, he's undefeated, but within the UFC, he's 6-0. And 6-0 while being undefeated, right, Kreskin? You've now won 6 in a row. Well, Merab made a very big push himself and got support by you guys when he became 6 in a row in the UFC. And not undefeated, it was 6 in a row. He'd been defeated, and then he had to get back on track. He did it 6 times. And I think that he went 8 times. I think that Merab, at this point of getting the title shot, this will be fight number 9. Those sound pretty close. And Merab was either the longest win streak in UFC history to not get a title shot, or he tied for it. And Umar's not wildly behind that. So, but it does feel like he is, right? Like when the statement was made by Merab, it did feel like that's what was happening. I'm just here to share with you. I went and looked at those numbers. That isn't the case. Do you remember Nate Quarry? Nate Quarry was my teammate and got a title fight against Rich Franklin. And so many people had said to Nate, oh, this is fast. Don't you think this is fast? And Nate finally in an interview goes, well, I've been at it for 12 years. I fought 25 guys. I mean, if that's fast, if 12 years and 25 fights later, which finally got me here, if that's fast, then yeah. It was a great point by Nate. And they didn't ask him that question again. They did not present it as though he had a favor called in or that he was an illegitimate contender. They understood. And I don't know, 18-0, boy, that's a lot of fights. That's a lot of fights. For a guy who could have a favor called in. Khabib was never asked. Did it all did it straight, did it in front of you guys. Even with Islam, did it all straight for you guys. Yes, I want a title shot. Yes, I think that he's the best. Yes, we will fight anybody. Yes, get us there. Then do his interviews after the fight. Put the hat on him. Roll out the back. But even though he had access, even though he got right through the portal, he never did. And I don't know that that's happened with Umar either. It sure doesn't appear that way. And there's something about that match that bothers Merab. It's a very big deal. It's a very big deal. Because we've never seen Merab, who is dog tough. We've never seen a resistance. So, the reason it's so relevant, and O'Malley has welcomed it. O'Malley cheered for it. Wanted him to get the best. Talking about Nurmagomedov. Wanted him to get the best of Corey. Wanted him to be next. Can't fight him now. Got to deal with Merab. But then he's going to see you. And it was a very different attitude. And whether this is conscious or subconscious, the reason I bring it to you is think about yourself. Think about a reaction, a reward, or a consequence of an action. Are you going to want that to be positive? I mean, how are you going to look at Umar? Are you going to look at him as a consequence? Or are you going to look at him as a reward? Because either way, it's unique and he's next. We don't see that very often. We don't see where champion has something to do, but the guy for whoever champion is on the other end is sitting there and he's ready. And if it's not something you want, or moreover, if it's something you don't want, there is a way to avoid it. But if it's something you don't want, how badly do you not want it? Because there is a way to avoid it. I've seen this in the world of wrestling a number of times. Tough guys I thought were tough guys. And they make it to a certain round, usually the semifinals, but they don't like the draw. So you got to come in the next morning, weigh in, and then you go do that match. And I have watched them miss weigh-ins, miss weight, whatever it is, to get out of that match without having to go and do that match. I don't suggest for you that Merab would go that far. I don't suggest for you that Merab has any problem with Umar. I'm just bringing to your attention that it is a piece of the fight, is a storyline built into this fight. There's a reason that Umar got named a #1 contender. That was important. That was important to have him there and be able to do this face-off, whoever the opponent might be. So he has a built-in story of the fight. Is he reward? Because O'Malley wants a piece of him. O'Malley wants him. And the only way he's getting him is to get through Merab. Merab doesn't want him. So now, the same thing. One guy views it as a reward and one views it as a consequence. It's interesting. It's food for thought. I don't have a lot to do with that right now. I don't have a finished thought for you guys. But perhaps after the match Saturday, I will be able to show you where this piece mattered. Nurmagomedov fast-tracked to a title shot. 4 years, 18 fights, 6 in the organization. Is that fast?